Well, hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome. Yes, you are somehow watching the Vegematic channel. Why? Because you're somehow messing up Google's algorithms and you've tuned into the Vegematic Drunken Philosophy Show. So welcome to the Vegematic Drunken Philosophy Show. There's a lot to talk about. There's always a lot to talk about. Excuse me. More Canada Dry. Canada Dry ginger ale. Drinking cheap beer tonight. It's there's something called Pilsner. I think it's supposed to be loosely based on a Pils from Czechoslovakia, but Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore, and neither does a real Pilsner. So the artificial Pilsner it is for tonight. And one or two new subscribers, and welcome aboard to the slimy underbelly of the internet, the Vegematic channel. Many years have I built this channel into what it is today, and yet somehow it will not grow very much. It's like a really slow growing tumor, and eventually it could kill YouTube, and that's why they can't let you watch this. So I can go on about the things that are depressing us all, and there are many things that are easily depressing. Statistics, depressing news, depressing descent into chaos, fascism, and climate collapse. We can go into all that, but why worry about it when you can simply drink a good artificial Pilsner and enjoy yourself? Ah, damn, I always put my ashtray out of reach. So there, now I can enjoy that fine tobacco flavor that I'm so fond of. 61 years old, guys. And I want to be 91 just so I can say, ha ha, I told you so. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not a health Nazi. I'm not a health nut at all. In fact, I couldn't care less if I dropped dead tomorrow. I would look at it as a bonus with what's going on in the world. YouTube. Why do I read the comments on YouTube? Why do I even sometimes respond to these right-wing nut jobs that leave their trolling comments on YouTube? I don't know, just because maybe I have a masochistic part of me that wants to engage in some kind of attempt at showing them the reality of the fascism that is staring them in the face, and that they are cheering on with their MAGA hats and their MAGA underwear and their MAGA faces that look like hate-filled little scrunched up evil shit that Mitch McConnell might have spawned. Yes, things are shitty. You've got a shitty Supreme Court that's gonna let your Fuhrer get off the hook. Oh, isn't that wonderful? The death of democracy. What will we do without democracy? Well, it hasn't been around for a long time if you haven't been paying attention. And now we are simply descending into the pit, into the shit pit, and flowing down into the slimy shitosphere of reality. So there you go. There is drunk philosophy number one. Now I have to have another drink of my fake Czechoslovakian, which is actually Canadian, which is actually owned by a multinational beer corporation that brews all this shit and uses GMO hops and malt, I'm sure. So what do I care anymore? What do I care? What do I care about Roundup poisoning and giving people cancer? Why should I care? Why should anybody care? Why should anybody care that we're going to hit 7 degrees Celsius global warming in a few years? I'll be dead. I don't give a shit. Isn't it amazing how history repeats itself? And I actually engage some of these people. And I tell you, As soon as you see all caps, well, then you know that you're dealing with a Trumpling. And if you're dealing with a Trumpling, really first thing is to realize that they are disgusting pieces of trash that are masquerading as human beings, and the only thing they understand is insults, stupid memes, and childishness, much like their Führer-in-Chief. And we all know who I'm talking about. Alex Jones, right? No, it's that guy that wears the hamster on his head. Man, you can't express any more hatred, folks. The hatred is just like, it's flowing out there. It's like sewage covering the entire world. It's just sticky and awful, and it smells bad. And most of the media is nothing but sewage. It's sewage. It's diarrhea floating up from the underbelly of the corporate beast that controls things. But what do I know? This is just drunk philosophy after all. So here sits this old hippie in London, Ontario, Canada, the armpit of Canada, the industrial rust belt that is trying to be a city but never really quite got it straight, so they're kind of like a big town with lots of potholes. So this is the armpit of Canada. It's also the humidex capital of Canada. My God, it's been so humid here. It's like everything's soggy. Just soggy mold growing over everything. These weird things in my garden. I think they're bindweed or something, and they just cover everything. They grab on and they won't let go, and you gotta fucking grab them, and you're pushing them with your feet, and you're yanking them up. And the roots, man, the roots go so deep. And I thought, what a perfect analogy for the times we're facing these days. We have weeds growing in the garden of democracy. We have vines clinging to the very structures that we have come to depend on as some sort of mitigating factor against the foul violence that is inherent in our species. So here in Canada, another 2 weeks, or just slightly less than 2 weeks, marijuana will be officially legal. You know, I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime, and somehow when it comes to pass, it's just, yeah, it's like, meh, big thing, meh. But I understand the celebrations are going to be quite impressive. So I would encourage all my fellow Canadians to join in a celebration of freedom by sparking up a fat rat on that day. Probably non-government approved. The government approved stuff, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure if it's really weed. I think they might be selling us oregano and saying it's weed. I wouldn't put it past them. I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything anymore. How can you trust anything? And the cult of Trump. Well, nobody should be surprised by this, as the man has modeled himself after Adolf Hitler, his hero, and he seems to be getting away with all this shit. So now he's going to get away with everything. There's going to be massive voter suppression and gerrymandering in the midterms. So if you are an American citizen entitled to vote and you don't, shame on you. There, having said that, I have to vote in the municipal election here in London. And these things are important because we got to figure out how we're going to get our garbage picked up. But you know, the city council here fucks up everything. So it's a long London, Ontario tradition. Other cities around us are growing and have public transit that works and everything. But no, London is stuck in the 1950s. So I would advise anybody visiting Canada, go right through London. Don't even stop here. Don't look at it. It's ugly. There's nothing here. and you will regret spending your tourist dollars here. Continue down the 401 till at least Montreal, where you may have a good time. People are thrilled that you have American dollars to spend. So stay away from London, Ontario. It is stuck in the 1950s, and I consider it a part of Canada's deep south. So if you don't want an ugly time, don't come here. Well, that's all about everything that I really have for you guys tonight, because honestly, I don't give a shit about this anymore, and I'm just doing it because it's a habit. Drunken Philosophy, Vegematic. If you enjoy this show, then you're a very strange human being, but thank you, and share it, spread it, try and defeat the algorithm that the Googleocracy has inflicted upon all of us, and share it and piss them off. It's really fun to do. I like pissing off the establishment, even at my age. Anyway, be well, my friends, all of my subscribers, old and new, and I will be back with a hopefully more sober and reflective video right after I finish the rest of my beer. Love you all, and take care, especially Sandy Shellis. Sandy, we all go through hardships, and you know, I deal with it in my way, you deal with it in the way you do. Life ain't easy for any of us. And I just want to say that I appreciate everything you've done with Environmental Coffee House. And if you haven't subscribed to Environmental Coffee House, please do. Sandy's going through a hard time right now with some disgusting insurance company crap, you know, the capitalist slime that cling to the bottom of society and extract what they can from the weak and vulnerable. We love you, Sandy, and many people love you, and many people appreciate all the good things that you have done with Environmental Coffee House. I'd like to also say hi to my friend Max over in Finland, and Hambone too. You know, I just think everybody should forgive each other and be nice to each other, and that's all I'm going to say about this. Stay part of the human race. It's more difficult than ever these days, but it's more important than ever also. Be human, love each other, take care of each other. I'd say punch a Nazi, but yeah, it's pointless. Violence never accomplished anything, right? Anyway, cheers to you, my friends, and I will talk to you in a more sober and rational form when the Sober Vegematic show comes at you in a few days.